Today, we're diving into a really wild idea. What if you could build an economic machine that was designed to just run itself forever? It is an absolutely fascinating case study in protocol design, so let's just get right into it.
I mean, think about that for a second. We're so used to financial systems needing constant tinkering, right? You've got boards, regulators, software updates. But what if the rules themselves could just operate on their own, powered by nothing but pure math? That's the core idea we're going to unpack here. All right, so how on earth does a machine like this actually work? Well, to get it, you gotta look at the basic mechanics. And it all starts with a goal that is completely different from pretty much anything else you've ever seen in this space.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. We all know Bitcoin was about liberating money, and Ethereum came along to liberate computation. But this protocol, its stated goal was to liberate the rules. The idea is to build a system where value doesn't just come from people agreeing it has value, but from the raw, built-in transactional behavior that's baked right into its DNA.
So how does it pull this off? Well, it uses this really clever dual token engine. First, you've got YFSX. That's the value store. Think of it as the system's gold reserve. And it's designed to be ultra scarce because every single transaction permanently destroys a little piece of the supply. Then you've got VIN, which is the dividend layer. This is the token that's meant to be used. And if you hold it, you get a cut of all the transaction fees happening across the entire system. They work together perfectly. One token stores value, and the other distributes the system's profits.
So, with a system like this, how does it defend itself? That brings us to what the source material calls the unbreakable game. And it's all about the game theory that's hardwired into the protocol to make it incredibly tough.
Look, anyone who's spent any time in DeFi knows this story all too well. When the market tanks, people panic sell, that triggers a whole cascade of liquidations, and sometimes the whole system just collapses. It's that dreaded death spiral. Now, the way this protocol tries to solve that is, well, it's completely backwards from what you'd expect. It's literally engineered to take a tax, heavy selling pressure, and turn that into fuel for itself. So instead of trying to fight market panic, the rules are designed to harness all that chaotic energy. And this table just lays it out perfectly. Look at the two players here. You've got the short-term trader who decides to dump their bags, they sell hard, they pay fees, and they help burn some of the token supply. But look at what happens to the system. The YFSX supply gets even scarcer, and all the long-term VIN holders get a bigger slice of the dividends from those very fees. This is a total paradigm shift. Normally, a flood of sellers is a crisis. Here, it's basically a refueling event. The system actually gets stronger, and the long-term holder, they just sit there and benefit. The key takeaway is that according to this design, the only winning move is not to play the short-term game. This really elegant game theory leads us to some of the protocol's most unique and, honestly, most mind-bending ideas, which are actually inspired by physics and information theory. This is where you find the real secret sauce of the whole design. First up is this concept of negative entropy. Okay, think about it this way. Most things in the universe tend towards chaos over time, right? A car rusts, a building crumbles, that's entropy. This protocol is designed to do the exact opposite. Every single transaction is supposed to create more order, not more chaos, because the fees are recycled back into the system and the token supply only ever goes down. In theory, it's built to become more stable and predictable with every use. And, this unique self-ordering idea has clearly caught on. The protocol's been running without stopping for over 4 years now, and it's attracted more than 10,000 holders. That kind of growth really speaks to its resilience, which, funny enough, brings us to another cool concept that helps explain why it gets more stable. And that concept is called Shannon entropy. The easiest way to think about it is with the deck of cards. Imagine you're playing poker, but every time a card is dealt, it's removed from the game forever. The more cards you take out, the fewer possible hands can be dealt, right? The game becomes more predictable. It's the same idea here. Because YFSX tokens are permanently burned, the number of possible states for the system is always decreasing. You're literally burning chaos out of the system, making it, in theory, more and more predictable with every single transaction. So when you start to put all these pieces together, the game theory, the physics-inspired mechanics, you get to the protocol's biggest claim, that it's a truly self-sustaining entity. But is it really? And what makes it so hard to copy? Well, the sources argue it's incredibly difficult to replicate for 3 big reasons. First, you've got time. This thing has been running 24/7 for over 4 years. That builds a kind of trust and a deep liquidity base you just can't fake. Second, the launch. It was started anonymously, with 0 tokens set aside for a team or for insiders. That's a fair launch in its purest form, and it's almost impossible to pull that off credibly today. And finally, and this is the big one, the rules are irreversible. There are no admin keys, no backdoors, no way to upgrade the contract. The code is law, and it's locked in stone forever. And that really leads to this powerful quote from the analysis, which kind of reframes how we should even think about this. It suggests that this isn't just another crypto project. It's not an investment, a governance tool, or even a currency. It's presented as a pure mathematical law that just happens to be manifested in the form of a token, a system of rules that just is. And that leaves us with one final, really provocative thought to chew on. We've just walked through a system that was designed from the ground up to be an autonomous, self-reinforcing economic machine. So the real question is, if rules can actually be set free to live on their own, governed only by math and our own predictable behavior, what does that truly mean for the future